On the surface, it is the most individual of pursuits.
It's going to be a very long day.
I'm expecting some fun, some pain.
Awesome.
A solo 226-kilometer journey across water and land, where limits are pushed far beyond their boundaries, and perseverance and resolve face their ultimate test. It is the chance to see if you can achieve more than you ever thought possible. To see if you can become an Ironman. Yet, as anyone who has taken on this daunting task will tell you, the challenge transcends individual endeavor. Friends, family, loved ones, all become an integral part of each person's Ironman story.
The athletes that come from all over the world are true family. Even though they've never met each other, they know what their fellow comrades have gone through to get here.
That amazing cliche saying, it takes a village. There's a team around me that get me to the start line, right? Happy, healthy.
I found this community. I found Ohana in triathlon, and now I can't leave the sport because it's become my world. I didn't expect that.
The Ohana spirit at an Ironman race, I believe, is stronger than anywhere else in the world.
Since 1978, when Ironman was born on the shores of Waikiki Beach, the Hawaiian culture has been ingrained in every Ironman race, no matter the location. And here in Mont-Tremblant, that enduring Hawaiian spirit of Ohana prevails. Ohana represents each athlete's extended family, the people whose bond and support powers each athlete to the finish line. With every swim stroke, each turn of the pedal and stride will summon the strength and will of the individual racer. The journey to becoming an Ironman is anything but solitary. The Ohana ensures that we are never truly alone, and that together we are stronger than we ever dared to dream. Welcome to the 8th edition of Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. The professional race comes with worldwide implications on the line. There will be the 2 pro champions crowned, but there will also be 1 male and 1 female that will punch their ticket to the Vega Ironman World Championship. And the only sure way to get into Kona at this race, win. For Canadian Lionel Sanders, that is the plan. However, there have been more questions than answers in 2019. Before the triathlon season really began, Sanders suffered a sacral stress fracture. Last week was his first race of the season, a small triathlon in his hometown with about 200 participants. Now, the real thing. The question is, what will racing among some of the world's best reveal? One thing going in his favor, Cody Beals, the defending champion who beat Sanders on this very course a year ago, already has his place in Kona. Beals is here to defend his title, but even if that happens, Sanders can still qualify for Kona by finishing second. But of course, others want that one remaining spot as well. A year ago, Quebec's rising star, Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches, simply wanted to cross the finish line at an Ironman for the first time. He did that in amazing fashion, taking 4th place among the professional men. His ultimate goal this time is much loftier, chasing the men's only qualifying spot to the Vega Ironman World Championship. There will be a lot decided over the coming hours for the professional men.
Good luck, guys.
There are great distances ahead, 3.8 kilometers in the water alone, another 180 on the bike, and finally, a marathon. However, the start is still nearly all out, Faster swimmers looking to take advantage of their abilities. Slower swimmers desperate to stay in contact, to take advantage of the opportunity to draft. Back with the professional women, two of the top seeds, Australian Carrie Lester and 11-time Ironman champion American Meredith Kessler, will be at the Vega Ironman World Championship. But for the rest, it comes down to this race. Sarah True is expected to be among the women battling for this title and that coveted qualifying spot. The American is a two-time Olympian, and last year, in her first year competing at Ironman, she not only qualified for Kona, she finished 4th on the Big Island. But every woman on the start line knows past performances will not get you to Kona. It is all about this moment, here and now.
One more time, let's hear it for women professionals.
3 minutes after the men, the professional women will get their turn. At the end of the day, there may be minutes separating the professionals, but at the start, no one really knows where the critical moments of the race may take place. A few lost seconds in the water may prove to be insignificant, but then again, maybe not. Only time will really tell. Quebec's Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches has been able to drop the other professional men. No one was able to get into his draft. It is the exact scenario he was hoping for. The chase pack is together, though, and that means there will be some men having better than expected swims. In this group is Cody Beals, the defending champion, well positioned in the first discipline. For the professional women, American Sarah True and Meredith Kessler have made the early move. True placed 4th at the 2012 Olympics, and she has maintained much of her speed from her ITU days. For Kessler, getting on her fellow countrywoman's feet is a major advantage. Back on the beach, the amateurs will now get their turn. It is a rolling start that will take place over the next 15 minutes.
Et c'est parti pour les premiers amateurs. Here we go with the first 8 groupers. We'll see you at the swim exit, everybody.
For those near the front, the anticipation can be almost unbearable. For others, there is time for one last moment with family and friends. One last moment before their long journey towards the finish line finally gets underway. Everyone has their own reason for being here.
1, 2, 3, Maddie!
For the members of Maddie Strong, theirs is a shared bond with a special young lady.
The back of the shirt say it's not when you finish, it's why. The story behind that is, you know, when you set out to do something like an Ironman, everybody has their own reason, you know, why they do it. And it's just meant to remind you of what your why is. And that kind of carries you through the 140.6 miles of the race.
5 ones. Obviously, our why is Maddie, right? So we're fighting every day to try and find a cure for her or find a clinical trial that will cure her. But everybody has a why, and it's important to share your why, right? That's what brings people together.
Maddie was diagnosed in 2012 with cancer, and I had just done Ironman Lake Placid. So we started the team, and we've done it 2014, 16, 18, and now 19. We have people from mostly around the Binghamton area, and then we have supporters from all over, you know, South Africa, Ukraine, Brazil. It's crazy, it's enormous. This year we have 6 people racing. I think about 22 people in town supporting.
How about we go, Maddie Strong? Come on! What was that? Maddie Strong! One more time?
It's kind of what keeps us going. It's probably been almost 6 years on her journey, and there's been lots of ups and downs. There's no end in sight, and it's heartwarming for everyone to come together and support our family and support Maddie, and just bring all the positive energy and positive vibes, not only on that day, but to carry us through other days.
For Maddie, Ohana does mean family to her. Every year we get new members into our family. Somebody hears our story, somebody decides to take on the challenge of Ironman. As soon as they meet her, it changes. The kid has just got so much piss and vinegar, and people see it and they know it, and it's magic. It really is.
She's the sassiest, spunkiest 14-year-old girl, almost 15, that you'll ever meet. She's full of life. She likes to take chances. She likes to go fast. The faster, the better. Once you break through and you make a connection with her, she'll love you forever.
More from Mont-Tremblant when we return. Mont-Tremblant now holds all the triathletes here from right across the country and around the world. 63 countries represented, more than 2,700 athletes with participants from 18 to 75 years young. It is a sight like no other. The 2019 edition of Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium, is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, Sportium, and the Government of Quebec. A dominating performance in the water by Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches as the young Quebec triathlon star gets set to head out on the 180-kilometer bike in the enviable position of being behind the lead Subaru. Leading after the swim is familiar territory. Staying in first on the bike is not. But there have been improvements on all three disciplines in training. The question is, how will that translate to a race? The chase pack is set to exit Mont-Tremblant, 8 men in total. And leading this group, the defending champion Cody Beals. For Jolicoeur-Desroches, it's a 2:20 advantage as the fourth place finisher in 2018 makes his way out towards Mont-Tremblant's forest and low-lying mountains.
Last year was my first Ironman I ever finished, first marathon I ever did too. So to be able to finish it, to be that close to the podium, that was a big boost of confidence.
Belgians Wouter Manchi, Canadian Nathan Killam. They will be the first to take up pursuit of the leader. American Justin Dare is fourth. Cody Beals was dropped back several positions during the transition from the swim to the bike, but he is still right there with the chase group. Back at the water, fellow Canadian Lionel Sanders is making his way out. He had to complete the first discipline all on his own. However, he still managed to have a very good time. He is 10th, 3:35 off the lead, but only a minute behind his biggest rival at this race, Cody Beals. Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches with an impressive 48:16 for the swim. Cody Beals, Wouter Manchi, Nathan Killam, and Elliot Skamansky finishing in the top 5. The professional men are out on Monty Ryan. Cody Beals is already pushing the pace. This pass on American Justin Dare, moving the 2018 champion into fourth.
Last year was the closest thing to a perfect day I've ever had out on the course. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect race, and I think that's part of the impetus behind the reason I keep coming back to these events again and again. But really, it felt like the stars aligned, and the whole experience almost had a surreal, dreamlike quality to it.
This is only the third Ironman for the Guelph triathlete. So far, though, he is a perfect 2 for 2 at this distance. Lionel Sanders is quickly taking back time on the men in front of him. A 1-minute deficit to the chase pack is already cut in half. At one time, it looked like his entire 2019 season would be lost to an injury. Sanders even had concerns that he would never race professionally again. But then things finally began to turn around for the Windsor, Ontario triathlete.
This is like a new experience for me because I feel like I'm starting my career over almost. I feel nervous, feel my heart in my chest. I've been away from it for so long now. It's been 8 months since my last race, which is the longest time that I've went without racing since the beginning of my career. I don't know, I just feel so grateful to be here again and to be part of it.
Sanders looks to be a man on a mission. He passes both Cody Beals and Wouter Manchi in one move, Sanders is now third. Cody Beals will follow Sanders' lead. It may be early, but clearly this is a critical moment in the race. Jolicoeur des Roches continues to hold his place at the front of the men's race. He is all alone, and he would like it to stay that way. However, his 2:20 advantage is slowly coming down. In second place is BC's Nathan Killam. He knows unwelcome company is on the way. Lionel Sanders and Cody Beals have picked up the pace. Sanders is clearly the one dictating the tempo. This pass on Nathan Killam by Sanders, moving the Windsor, Ontario triathlete into second place. However, the defending champion is continuing to match Sanders' every move as he also goes past Killam. Lionel Sanders is in second place. Cody Beals right behind him in third. There is just one man left to catch. Quebec's Antoine Jolicoeur des Roches. His advantage was cut in half to just over a minute. However, that number is now holding as he heads towards the first turnaround on Route 117 and the first chance to see the men trying to track him down. For the professional women, America's Sarah True and Meredith Kessler stayed together for the entire 3.8-kilometer swim. They will exit the water as leaders. The two women have different objectives in Mont-Tremblant. True is chasing the one women's qualifying spot to Kona available at this race for the professional women. Kessler already has hers, but what she really covets is another Ironman title.
I'm stuck at 11. I'm stuck at 11 Ironman wins. Look, at 41, I'm not going to have many more opportunities to even try to get another Ironman win for Team MBK, not just for me, but for the team. So that's why I came back to try. Just give it a whirl, you know, on one of my favorite courses on the planet.
Kessler has 3 Ironman 70.3 victories here. This marks her second attempt at winning the full-distance event. Last year, she placed third at Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. True will be a major threat to Kessler's goals. The other major concern, Australian Carrie Lester. The 3-time Ironman champion and Kessler are the only professional women in the race who have qualified for Kona. But like Kessler, Lester wants the win. Kessler will work away on the bike with just over a minute advantage on Lester. The Australian is known to be strong over all 3 disciplines, but particularly on the bike.
Let's go!
Canadian Sheila Trelevin will exit Lac Tremblant in 4th, 3:50 off the pace. The other women even further back. Sarah True completes the swim in a time of 50 minutes and 11 seconds, followed closely by Meredith Kessler, Carrie Lester, Sheila Trelevin, and Kyra Weens rounding out the top 5. Back to the men. Jolicoeur des Roches is showing no signs that he will give up the lead without a fight. Lionel Sanders is holding on to second. And Cody Beals is still right there, keeping his main rival in his sights. At the Route 117 turnaround, a chance for the top 5 men to see each other. Jolicoeur des Roches will know now his advantage over Sanders and Beals is holding steady, just under 60 seconds.
I still feel like even though Cody Beals won last year, people see him as the underdog and expect that Sanders is going to win, but I feel like Cody Beals is really a smart guy, and when he prepares for an Ironman, he prepares super scientifically. Everything is planned to the millimeters. And Sanders, sometimes we never know what we can expect, which makes it kind of stressful for us because we never know which Sanders are going to be on the start line.
Changes in the women's race. Carrie Lester has erased her deficit out of the water. She has overtaken Sarah True, and with this pass on Meredith Kessler, the Australian is now the leader. Coming into the race, these 3 women were expected to battle for the title. So far, things are living up to expectations. Sarah True follows Lester's lead, as she also makes her way past Kessler as the professional women's race heats up. here at Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. Welcome back to the 8th edition of Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. This is a day that these athletes have been anticipating for months, for some even years. Tackling an Ironman requires an immense commitment to this challenging endeavor, and it requires a lot of support from family and friends. Few know this better than Mike Riley, the voice of Ironman. He has announced at nearly 200 Ironman events around the world, and he has seen firsthand the importance of the Ironman community.
It's the adults out there and the moms and dads and the brothers and sisters are showing that their actions speak louder than words. You can see the young ones in the crowd just, oh my gosh, I want to do this one day. They're influenced in a positive way.
The racers for Team Maddie Strong are all out on the bike course. Like their inspiration for being here, they are facing their personal journey head-on. They push through so that Maddie can place a finisher medal on each and every one of them. Most of the age group athletes are out onto the 180-kilometer bike course, the second of 3 disciplines required to complete an Ironman.
Hello.
And they will soon be joined by the event's oldest competitor, 75-year-old Gilles Proulx. You have a maximum of 2 hours and 20 minutes to complete the swim. Proulx gets it done in 1 hour, 57 minutes and 41 seconds. There's little time to celebrate, with hours of work remaining.
Jamais j'aurais pensé que je pourrais être, d'abord de faire un Ironman, puis deuxièmement d'être le plus vieil athlète qui réalise l'Ironman à Tremblant, jamais. C'est un défi auquel un jour quelqu'un m'a convié. Il m'a dit, écoute, tu cours des marathons un peu partout à travers le monde. Tu fais du vélo. Puis là, je lui ai dit, ben voyons, je nage comme une roche. C'est pas possible, ça sera pas possible. Mais il dit, c'est certainement possible. Just do it and have fun.
My grandfather is a role model for me. He really challenged me to do anything and a lot of sports. He was always there to encourage me and push me further to be happy about what I just did.
He doesn't do anything just for fun. When he's doing something, he goes to the top.
To prepare for this race, Gilles organized a group ride across Canada. In 2018, they began in Vancouver, eventually making their way to his hometown in Repentigny, Quebec. And this year, they covered the remaining distance to Newfoundland, one of many similar adventures. But it has been his love of marathons that has taken him around the world. Now he wants to get to Kona. If he can qualify here and then complete the Vega Ironman World Championship, it would mark his 80th marathon. It is very early in the 180-kilometer bike ride. And then, of course, there is still a marathon to follow. It is a long way to go, and Gilles Proulx would not want it any other way. It was a valiant effort to hold on to the lead. However, Antoine Jolicoeur Desroches has been tracked down. Fellow Canadian Lionel Sanders has been relentless on the bike. He has picked up the pace since the turnaround, and he is now the leader. However, he has not been able to break Cody Beals. The two have been together since very early on the bike. With 60 of the 180 kilometers completed, they still are. Two men who have raced each other often. Last year, Beals was finally able to beat his biggest rival for the first time as he took the title here. Sanders crossing the line in second.
Lionel and I are both coming off difficult seasons. Lionel's had a sacral stress fracture. I've had Achilles tendinosis. It's both impacted our running pretty severely. So I think we'll both be in fantastic swim bike shape, and it's really going to be an interesting thing on the run.
Cody Beals is already qualified for the Vega Ironman World Championship. However, he has made his intentions very clear this entire triathlon season. He wants to defend his title in Mont-Tremblant. Lionel Sanders has not qualified for the World Championship. That is his #1 objective today. But make no mistake, he would love to make a statement to his competitors here and around the world. Taking the title at Subaru Ironman Mont-Tremblant would certainly achieve that.
First and foremost, my race plan is to get the Kona slot. So I will be looking around at who's in front, who's around me, who doesn't and who does. The only person who does is Cody Beals, so that makes this really easy. So I certainly will protect the Kona slot. Yes, I'm racing for the Kona slot, absolutely. If I find myself in a situation where I'm also racing for the win, then I certainly will take part in that race.
The two Ontario triathletes are now all alone at the front of the race. Jolly Corderoche will try and minimize the damage. But perhaps more than anything, the focus will be on staying ahead of the next men trying to track him down. American Andrew Yoder will overtake Nathan Killam for 4th. His next target may be Jolly Corderoche, but the reality is he is not making any gains on the Quebec triathlete. The two have been separated by about 2:30 throughout the ride. Sanders and Beals, they are still separated by just a few seconds, with no sign that either one is willing to give an inch. In the professional women's race at Subaru Ironman Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium, indications are that it is turning into a 3-person battle for the title, and Australian Carrie Lester is the one trying to take control as she pulled away from all the women. She comes to this event with her qualifying spot secured to Kona, but she considers this race critical to meeting her objectives on the Big Island.
I could say the course has more of a likeness to Hawaii, so it gives for me more of preparation just to see how I'm going. Spend more time in the bars on the bike and being able to get out there and try and have a fast run. It was really a case of course selection and getting me ready for Hawaii.
American Sarah True is in second, 1:45 off the pace. She comes to this race with many question marks after a disastrous season to this point. She has started 2 Ironman races. Both resulted in a DNF. This coming after a tremendous debut in Kona in 2018, where she placed 4th. Fortunes can change quickly at Ironman, so one last chance at punching her ticket to the Vega Ironman World Championship.
I would take the qualifying spot. It's a question of whether or not I start. I would want to go to Kona to be able to compete, and if we have any question whatsoever about my ability to compete at Kona, I don't want to go to just participate.
True says they have not figured out why she is responding so negatively to extreme temperatures, and heat is always a factor in Kona. Third is Meredith Kessler. It was expected that the American would be right at the front of the race. For her to have lost 3.5 minutes this quickly is cause for concern. Jody Robertson is 4th, more than 12 minutes back with a lot of distance still to cover on the bike. Carrie Lester is out of sight, and at this stage, in control of the women's race.
That was a big effort. Decided to let him go and save something for the run. Otherwise, I was going to blow up.
Cody Beals, reacting to the unrelenting pressure from Lionel Sanders, who has opened up a gap as he looks to secure the only qualifying spot available to Kona for the professional men. It has been a very challenging season for Sanders, to say the least. After a disappointing end to 2018, he was looking to start off 2019 in a big way, but instead, his entire career nearly came to an end.
About 2 weeks before Oceanside, that was going to be my season opener, I started to get kind of a glute pain, and it got worse and worse. And then one day I woke up after doing a really hard run workout, and I literally couldn't walk on my left leg. I couldn't put any pressure. I went to the CVS and bought a cane, and actually was walking around with a cane. 3 weeks go by of various treatments, and finally the doctor said, I'm pretty sure it's tendonitis, but just to be safe, we'll get an MRI. And so I got the MRI, and it was clear as day. I had fractured my sacrum. For me, that was kind of the big eye-opener of like, holy crap, like my career could have been over here. I went 10 years without any serious injury. I mean, that's about as serious, I think, as you're going to get, is having to just stop doing everything for 3 months. In the beginning, it was extremely difficult, but finally I sort of submitted and I said, you have to rest. This is your duty. If you want to get back to racing well and you want to continue to do this as a career, you're going to just have to accept what is and heal. This can be taken away at any point from you. You need to appreciate each race and think of it as if it could be your last. I got into Ironman in 2009. I was in a crappy place in my life, abusing drugs and alcohol. I needed a change in my life, and it popped into my head to do an Ironman triathlon. When I Googled it the first time, what I saw was a picture of Craig Alexander winning the 2009 Ironman World Championship, gritting the teeth. I want to do that too. I want to go from, I Googled it, and I want to go right to there and make it a reality. 2019, I think, will go down as probably mentally the most challenging year, but in terms of the gift of learning, the best year. Without a doubt, this will be the best year for my career going forward.
Canadians are certainly hoping Lionel Sanders can join Cody Beals on the starting line in Kona. At this stage, Sanders is on pace to set a new course record, a record set just last year by Beals. Still though, a long way to go in this race. The two men separated by 3 minutes as they work away over the final 30 kilometers of the bike. In the battle for third place, advantage Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches. Andrew Yoder's pace is slowed down over the final stages. He is nearly 4 minutes behind third. Like the professionals, the age group athletes are pursuing Ironman dreams of their own. And for 40 of these individuals, that will mean a trip to the 2019 Vega Ironman World Championship. Every age group has at least one qualifying spot. The larger groups have even more. For the men 75 to 79, there may be only 2 participants, but it is enough that there is a qualifying spot available. And that is what Gilles Proulx, the oldest competitor here, is targeting. The only sure way for that to happen requires 2 things. He needs to complete the race within 17 hours, and he needs to finish first in his age group. Everyone out here knows how difficult it is to even attempt an Ironman. Imagine doing it at 75. The 2019 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium, is brought to you by Subaru, confidence in motion, the city of Mont-Tremblant, and by the Government of Canada. The conditions, they've been pretty much ideal all day here in the 2019 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. However, for American Meredith Kessler, the day is anything but ideal. The 11-time Ironman champion is having to deal with some gearing issues. New Zealand's Melanie Burke will drop the American back into 5th place, 27 minutes off the pace. American Jody Robertson had already moved by Kessler and into the final podium position, but Robertson is more than 17 minutes back. 12 minutes off the pace is fellow American Sarah True. She has been in second since very early into the 180-kilometer ride. However, she lost sight of the leader hours ago, and she continues to lose ground. No race is ever over on the bike. We've seen plenty of leads evaporate in the marathon. But clearly, Carrie Lester is having a very special day. The Australian has put herself in position to not only win, she is on pace to shatter the course record. Lionel Sanders is on a course record pace as well. His advantage, entering T2, a little more than 5 minutes. With one discipline remaining, Sanders' first race of the 2019 season is going extremely well.
I'm excited for the future. I've never been more excited to race. So grateful to be back into it. For me, Sunday is I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy being back out here because I actually felt like I almost lost this.
For Beals, last year's victory at Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium, was a career-defining moment. It was not only his debut Ironman, it was also the very first time he beat Sanders.
The victory last year did change my life. It certainly catapulted me more onto the world stage, and there were definitely some adjustments that followed, and they weren't all positive. So I rode a real tide of excitement after that, but there was way more attention and pressure than I was used to. Media attention, expectation, both internal and external. And so it's been an adjustment over the past year, learning to deal with all that while still maintaining, my single-minded focus on the fundamentals, my training, my sleep, my nutrition.
Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches is having a tremendous race himself. Fourth in 2018, he would like to take the next step and get onto the podium in 2019. He's nearly 14 minutes back, but perhaps more significantly, his advantage over his nearest pursuer is 7 minutes. It is no longer Andrew Yoder in fourth. Instead, it is Canadian Nathan Killam. The Surrey BC triathlete stayed consistent during the entire ride. He will head out onto the run well positioned to challenge for the podium. Lionel Sanders did give up some valuable time in transition. His lead heading out onto the run, 4:26 over Beals. Cedric Boyle rounding out the top 5. Out on the course, Sanders has settled into his pace. His advantage over Beals is holding. Here at Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. The word since early into this race for Australian Carrie Lester, dominant. She has completely overpowered the other professional women as she works her way on the final discipline with a commanding 15-minute lead. Yet the 3-time Ironman champion knows there is more work remaining.
The race is never over until it's over. At any moment on the run you can be feeling great, and then the next minute, you're not feeling that great. We've seen it, many times before, so I think I have the training in me to have a good run, and I just hope that I can go out there and deliver a really solid marathon. Yeah, finish strong.
Sarah True will be second into transition. The first 2 disciplines have not been the problem this year. It has been on the run. This is her 3rd attempt at qualifying for the Vega Ironman World Championship. In her first 2 attempts, she was not even able to finish. At Ironman Frankfurt, she was just 700 meters from the victory when this happened.
Besinnungslos habe ich das Gefühl, also sie kann das nicht mehr kontrollieren, was sie tut. Das ist eigentlich ihre Rettung gewesen, jetzt hier diese Getränkestation. Und jetzt kommt hier ein Athlet, der ihr hilft. Aber das ist halt auch die Schwierigkeit. Wenn du erstmal in den Armen von jemandem hängst, dann kommst du eben auch nicht mehr hoch. Also, das ist wirklich unfassbar jetzt.
So, on the final qualifying weekend of the year, Sarah True will once again attempt to get that elusive position on the Big Island. Just 5 minutes back is fellow American Jody Robertson. Like True, she has yet to qualify for Kona. There is still a lot to be decided in the women's race. Melanie Burke is 4th, 27:25 off the pace. In 5th, Meredith Kessler. She was expected to be in contention for the win, but that goal evaporated on the bike. Kessler 32:24 off the pace. Australian Carrie Lester on the strength of the women's fastest bike with a commanding lead. And she is showing no signs of slowing down on the run. In fact, she continues to add to her advantage. The Ohana spirit is in full display at every turn here in Mont-Tremblant. 2,700 athletes from around the world have come to town for this experience. And whether they arrive with a group or on their own, they are all embraced by their courage to take this on. There is no they and us at an Ironman. It is a collective we. Gilles Proulx is the only competitor still on the course in the 75 to 79 age group. If he can finish within 17 hours, he will qualify for the first time to Kona. Imagine that, achieving something so monumental at 75 years young. The Maddie Strong team is out there as well, together in their efforts to make it to the finish line for the biggest supporter, Maddie.
It's been motivational for all of us, supports us in everything we do. It's just great. Giving back.
We got a team. We kind of play together, support our buddy's daughter, and it works, you know? A lot of electricity there, you know?
The professional men are on to the second lap of the run, and Lionel Sanders continues to lead. However, Cody Beals has begun to take back time. Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches has seen this happen before on this very course. Late into the run, he is struggling. Nathan Killam moves up into third. The professional triathlete is also a full-time firefighter. Clearly, he is able to manage his challenging schedule. From a commanding lead to this. Less than 7 kilometers from the finish line, and Lionel Sanders is in trouble. Cody Beals is the new leader at Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. Sanders had expressed concerns that he had not been able to put in enough training on the run following his injury. These worries are proving to be a reality. The focus now is getting to the finish line in second place. Manage that, and he would qualify for Kona. Meanwhile, Carrie Lester just keeps rolling along, her lead up to 16 minutes. Sarah True's goal of qualifying for Kona remains on track. She is pulling away from her pursuers as she pushes on towards the finish line. The 2019 edition of Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium, is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, Sportium, and Tremblant. Cody Beals has done it again. Back-to-back wins at Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. Cody Beals remains undefeated at this distance. 3 Ironman starts, 3 Ironman wins for the Guelph, Ontario triathlete. While it may not have gone quite to plan for Lionel Sanders, it is still mission accomplished. He will join Beals on the starting line at the Vega Ironman World Championship. Nathan Killam stuck to his race plan all day, steady in all 3 disciplines. His best result ever at an Ironman, as he takes 3rd place. It is a sweep of the podium for the Canadian men. Cody Beals lowers his course record by 12 minutes as he finishes in 7 hours, 58 minutes and 34 seconds. Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches fights his way through the marathon to finish 8th. From the moment she took over the lead, Australian Carrie Lester looked destined to take the victory. Fastest bike of the day, fastest run, and a course record. The Australian is your 2019 champion of Subaru IRONMAN Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium. The 3rd time is the charm. After 2 attempts, Sarah True finally punches her ticket to the Vega Ironman World Championship. She captured 3rd in 2018 at the 70.3 event. Now she is 3rd at the Ironman. American Jody Robertson with another solid performance in Mont-Tremblant. Great Ironman debut for Quebec's Pamela Ann Balcheder-St. Pierre as she moves up on the run to capture 4th place. Carrie Lester sets a course record with her 8:48.26 clocking. New Zealand's Melanie Burke Rounding out the top 5, Australian Carrie Lister on the top step. She is joined by a pair of Americans in the celebration. The professionals and a few of the age group athletes may be wrapping up their day, but for others, there is still a long way to go. All along this beautiful 2-loop run course, they push on. And from the start to the very end of their journey, the support from fellow competitors, from family, from complete strangers is a constant source of energy that has helped to propel them to this very moment, crossing the Ironman finish line. For Maddie Shaw, being at the finish line of an Ironman, sharing in all of this, placing the medal on the members of Team Maddie Strong, it is a very special moment.
She probably wouldn't say it, but her expression might say it. Our Ironman family means the world to her.
Gilles Proulx has put himself in position to achieve his ultimate goal at this year's race, securing one of the 40 age group qualifying spots available to Kona. As daylight transitions to nighttime, nothing else really changes. The focus remains the same. Keep moving forward. Cover the distance within the 17-hour cutoff time, and you will be greeted by Mike Riley and everyone else at the finish line. And that is a celebration like no other.
The spectators and the athletes, they become one, with one goal in mind, to see that athlete succeed on their day, to see him smile at the finish line, to have them hear those great words that they're going to hear.
With more than an hour to spare, Gilles Proulx has done it. He is the champion of the 75 to 79 age group. And with that, he qualifies for the Vega Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. His celebration has only just begun here at the 2019 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont-Tremblant, presented by Sportium.